martial law, right? Martial law. Why you like martial law during the time of Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos? Quiet. Even that, for example, Ron Eric Miranda, Fabian Ver, he likes martial law, right? Quiet. Even Jetro Lopez as Fidel B. Ramos is agree with martial law. Ah, that EDSA people power. The economy. Right? I see. Like Rodelio Daguman is as Ninoy Aquino. He said, he wants return. I shall return to the Philippines. He will be assassinated. Right?
Ayaw naman pa uwi nila Imelda.
Tracy Maureen Perez, Imelda Marcos.
Dahil delikado ang buhay niya.
Ay.
Namatay mo one day. Yung kasamahan nila.
Sacrifice.
Para mapabaksak ang buhay. Para mapagbintagan si Duterte.
Oh, I see.
Sacrifice ng NPA.
Sacrifice sa NPA. So during the time drama season. Larry Chuanico is like drama season because what is it, NPA?
Yan ang founder. Kasi Ninoy ang founder.
Ninoy, I see. NPA. I see. What about those, for example, the Catholic Bishop of Conference of the Philippines and the Christians who were participating in the, for example, EDSA People Power? That in the story, no more EDSA People Power.
Hindi na mangyayari uli yun. Gising na mga tao.
Wake up.
Wake up na. Sa katotohanan.
Because Don Mardayo is a Marcos loyalist He said that Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos Sr., number 1 president. I see. Number 1, right? I get it. Number 1. Right? Number 1, right? What about, for example, Arturo Tolentino, Luis Cabales as Arturo Tolentino? How was it? Luis Cabales, Arturo Tolentino, who makes a role play.
Dapat yun ang Vice President ni Marcos.
I see. Vice President.
Hindi nag-release si Bey. Dapat si Tolentino dahil yung nanalo sa butuan.
I see.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. I see. Brilliant. I see.
Yung ang Vice President ni Marcos na walang
I see.
Hindi nila pinaupo. Dapat siya ang Vice President. Minuto yun ang tao.
Manpower. I see. I see. During the time, right?
Pinagbinintahan nila na kayanan si Marcos. Kasi sila nagpayaman. Mga kuwan niya ko yung nagpayaman.
What about Carbillos as Ronald Reagan? Is he a close friend with Manuel Luis Antonio, Ferdinand E. Marcos? Ronald Reagan. Richard Nixon, right? Matthew Timbal as Richard Nixon. He's friends with Manuel Luis Antonio, Ferdinand E. Marcos, right?
tanong pati si Marcos na pag si Reagan tuwa.
Ah,
Talagang hanga-hanga siya.
ah, even that place, right? For example, Ian Lopez as Gringo Honasan.
Kung natin yan, rebelde yan, yung panahon ni Cory.
Rebellion. Gring, Rebellion, right? Ah,
Saka yun si, ano pa yun, nalala na yun siya,
because Sir William Duco plays Gringo Honasan. During the time of martial law, right? Martial law.
anong kamay ni Enrile.
So Gab Marquez is Juan Ponce Enrile.
Pero may prinsipyo
I see.
si Rendon.
Eh, that's the whole the story was, right? About Cal Castro, that who pretend as Lee Kuan Yew, is he close friends with Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos? Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. Is he close? He never been seen the picture. Because during in Singapore, it's always uh, have prohibiting littering. But here in the Philippines, during the Marcos time, there's martial law, right? Martial law. So what about, for example, if Nina Robertson as Cory Aquino, what is a reaction about the place in martial law? No, not martial law.
Hindi na Marcelo nun.
It's how was it?
Binalis na.
Corruption.
Lumalak ang droga.
Yeah. Even what else? Oldapper.
May dapper.
Yeah. Even that she abandoned that Bataan nuclear power plant, right? How's that Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos at Bataan nuclear power plant?
Ay, power plant ka.
Yeah.
Bataan.
Yeah.
Gawa na yata ang mga marami na yata ang nanakaw din mga gamit.
Uh, and then the abandon of Bataan nuclear power plant was really abandoned, right?
Pero kung natuloy yun, mura kuryente natin.
Yeah, very cheap. I see.
Hindi na nila binuhay dapat binuhay nila.
I see.
Kaya ang bilyon.
Oh, I see. Are you a favor of Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos, martial law?
Oh,
And so people can go to sleep. People can do whatever discipline, have discipline also.
kami din na ito ngayon sa Basta.
Martial law.
Hindi mo din alam anak mo riyan.
That's my two cats, Ming. Yeah. So that's a great history about martial law. For example, during the closing program in my old school, si DIFI, during Teacher Joy, there's Magkaisa. How's that the song of Magkaisa? It's not good
Hindi naman nagpapisa. Sila
Because Magkaisa, that's composed by Birna Lisa.
lang nagkaisa.
Yeah. Because I'm not a member of Liberal.
Eh ngayon, nag-iimbita silang mag-people's power, tapos kayo ngayon.
Ay,
Yun na lang.
so that Manuel Luis Antonio Ferdinand E. Marcos was kidnapped by CIA and bring him to Hawaii, right? Among his wife, Tracy Maureen Perez as Imelda Marcos, even his son, Alan Angelos Sinang as Bongbong Marcos, Bia Book as Amy Marcos, even Altea Ambroso as Irene Marcos, right? What about Yumi Makalintal, Amy Marcos? She was in Hawaii, right? Together with the housemaid in Malacanang, right? What about, for example, Ron Eric Miranda as Fabian Ver? Is he invited to exile?
Pag yung hindi nila pinauwi dito,
Ah,
yun ang nakakaalam ng lahat pag umuwi dito.
ah,
Ayaw nila, pinigilan nila.
I see. How was it, for example, in the present day of Bam Hernando as Rodrigo Duterte, that legacy? He fights against a drug lord o criminal, holdupper. How was it?
Kaya lang, matanda na.
It's like Bam Hernando as Rodrigo Duterte. He likes to fight against war on drugs, right?
Idolo mo si Marcos, si Duterte.
Oo. What about Manuel Luis Antonio Ferdinand E. Marcos, martial law?
Hindi naman pwede mag-martial law. Dadaan pa yun. Marami pang proseso yun.
I see.
Hindi ka pwede magbaba ng martial law.
Martial law.
Maraming proseso pang pagdadaanan yun bago yung ma-approve.
So he lifted the martial law in 1980s.
Ayun ay pinagano yun. Lumaan pa yun sa Kongreso.
In the Congress. I see. So how was that during that time? For example, in 1950, for Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos and Tracy Maureen Perez as Imelda Marcos. How's their love story?
Na rin naman sila.
I see. Even that, for example, before he was elected the president, right? When is your time to that you're being a Marcos loyalist?
Talagang loyal na loyal. Marami pang gano'n.
Loyal. Yeah, because Carlos Santos Fernandez is a Marcos loyalist eh. He's a Duterte supporter.
Dami pa. Loyal. Talagang tapat sila.
What about Tracy Maureen Perez at Imelda Marcos? Did she meet, for example, the Cuban president, Dexter Aluda as Fidel Castro? How was it? Fidel Castro, the Cuban president. Castro. No, Cuban president. Cuban president. In yes, Latin America. Yeah, she visited in Cuba. What about in China? For example, Calvin Roa as Mao Zedong. Yeah. Mao Zedong. I see. For example, Josh Nathaniel as Saddam Hussein in Iraq. How does Tracy Maureen Perez, Imelda Marcos met Saddam? Tracy Maureen Perez, Imelda Marcos, who was making role play. No, Tracy Maureen Perez, a beauty queen, who play as Imelda Marcos. How was it? No, for example, she meet Josh Nathaniel Lim as Saddam in Iraq. How was it? No, in the picture. No, no, not that. Mami Ellen. Saddam Hussein that Imelda Marcos met. During the picture, how was it? Oh, I see. So you're a loyalty to the Marcos, right? But for example, if Christian Mengito as Leonid Brezhnev and Manuel Luis Antonio as Ferdinand E. Marcos, how was it the meeting? Ferdinand E. Marcos. He pretend. How was it? Hmm. That he visit in Soviet Union, Russia. All foreign leaders, right? Sound very... so very nice at the history. Because I make a YouTube vlog I'm making a history of Marcos era. I make an interview. I see. I see. You said you make the nation great again, right?